much do you trust your instinct, your intuition, your gut? You'd probably say a lot. Some people would even say, my gut never leads me wrong. It's always right. But is it? Is your intuition always correct? Let's be rational. It's not possible that could always be right. Given parallel situations to differing people would result in different consequences. If they had to articulate what their gut is telling them, we'd find out that there's vastly different information. But I would say that for the most part, our gut is there to help us make decisions quickly when there's not enough information to come up with an educated guess. And a lot of times it is right. Our gut keeps us safe. Our gut helps us make decisions when we might otherwise be so indecisive that we don't make any moves. We're just frozen. And so it's important to trust our gut to some point. Our instinct is there for a reason. But our instinct isn't always correct. We use our gut feeling when we're suspicious, when we're afraid, when we're experiencing anxiety, and we have to come up with a solution. And so it's kind of the magic 8 ball. Well, I think I should just move on this or that because my gut is telling me so, but you don't really know why you're making that decision. You don't know where it's coming from. The truth of the matter is, it's coming from somewhere in our database. It's a computation of all the experiences, good and bad, that we've had. Uh, whether these experiences uh, come from childhood or adulthood, whether they came from a really good event that happened in our life, or perhaps something that happened before reaching emotional maturity. But they are coming from somewhere, and we're noticing a pattern, and somehow our mind is helping us put that together subconsciously. And we're thinking that, well, if certain things happen in certain ways, it should garner certain results. But it's not always the case. Now, I'm going to zero in on something just because I just really want to share this story. So this topic just kind of justifies me talking about it, but it's not lost, I hope. There's two things I want to share with you. One is there are people who are suspicious that their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife might be cheating on them. And this is played out on a radio show, a morning radio show. I don't know if it's every day or if it's just several times a week, but most people have heard of it. It's called the Kane Show. And they have a segment that they call the War of the Roses. It's very entertaining. Um, what if you haven't heard of it? What it revolves around is somebody writes in via email to the Kane Show, and they will express their suspicions for their significant other, and they will delineate in so many words why they are suspicious. Now, their gut is telling them that their their significant other, their partner, is probably cheating on them. They're not absolutely sure. Some feel they are, but they're saying their gut tells them that they are. Now, we only hear about the ones that get caught. And the way they get caught is that either intern John or Kane will call them up, and they'll pose as a local florist doing a guerrilla marketing campaign, and they're going to be willing to share where they're going to be willing to send flowers free of charge to an unwitting suspect. And if the person that they're making this offer to sends them to the wrong person, you know they're cheating on them. And so we oftentimes just hear about the results of the ones who actually get caught. But they have expressed on their show that 80% of the time they make these calls, and they get a lot of them, and they do a lot of calls. They get a lot of letters and make a lot of calls, and they say 80% of the time they find out the person isn't cheating, despite the fact that their gut has told them otherwise. So you have to be careful, because if you move on your gut all the time, 100% of the time, you could be breaking down something that otherwise was working for you. And sometimes it just takes longer to glean information to find out whether you're really right or not. And so they are very careful. The Kane Show, at least, is very careful about how they handle things like that so that they don't destroy a relationship. Now, let me share something else with you. Um, I last Friday night, I was my wife and I were dropping my boys off at the jiu-jitsu class, and we had other things we needed to do, so wasn't really worth our time to head all the way back home. We stopped off at the Miller Ale House, and we sat at the bar, had a couple of drinks, and we were trying to watch TV. The displays were overhead, and I really lost interest in what was on because there was only women's golf on one television and CNN and a story about 91 horses that had died in the last 6 months at a racetrack, and I didn't know anything about it. So I started talking to a gentleman next to me who was probably in his mid to late 60s, and during the course of the conversation, he asked me if I liked baseball, and I said I could take it or leave it, and he explained to me that he was from Maryland originally from Maryland, and being a baseball fan, he always liked the Baltimore Orioles, but he moved down eventually to Winter Haven, Florida here, and the Cleveland Indians for a long time used to train in Winter Haven. Their spring training camp was in Winter Haven, Florida. Now, he said that one night when his wife was out on a business trip, he decided to go to the bar. When he was at this bar, he was by himself with the exception of one other man in the bar, and this other man was playing pool. He said, I looked at him and I realized I think I know him. And then it dawned on him, that's Dennis Martinez. Now, Dennis Martinez was a Major League Baseball pitcher who started off in the Baltimore Orioles. He played for the Orioles between 1976 and 86. And so this man that I was talking to was very familiar with this individual. And then at that time, between 94 and 96, and this is probably what happened, when it happened, he played for the Cleveland Indians. So he was very current on baseball. Now, Dennis Martinez eventually played also for the Expos, the Mariners, and the Braves. So this man told me, he said, I wanted to buy a drink for Martinez. I asked the bartender what he drinks, and he told me, he gave me the drink. I went over to Martinez, and I handed him the drink, and I said, I just want to thank you for all that you've done for the game of baseball. He said, well, thank you very much. He said, I anticipated just turning around and walking away, but Martinez asked me to play pool with him. I played 3 or 4 games of pool with him, and then I turned around and asked him if I could have his autograph. They pulled out a napkin. Dennis Martinez signed it somewhat to the effect, I enjoy playing pool with you, Dennis Martinez. He took the napkin home, opened up a cupboard, put it on a top shelf with the intention of keeping it there until he could find a better way to display it. His wife had come home. He said his wife was Mexican American. He walked in the door one day, and she approached him and said, "Who is Denise?" He said, "I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about." She goes, "I want to know who Denise is." He goes, "Well, I don't know who Denise is." She goes, "Who is Denise, and why were you playing pool with her?" He said, "I looked over on the countertop, and there was my shredded up napkin with Dennis Martinez's autograph on it." He said, "I tried to persuade her that I was not cheating on her, and I said, look, I'll take you down to the training facility, show you his picture on the wall, and you can compare autographs and know for a fact that's Dennis Martinez." Now, she followed her gut, but she was wrong about that. You got to be careful about following your gut all the time. But I would say for the most part, our gut probably serves us well. It keeps us safe, and it helps us make decisions in a crunch. But just be wary of what your gut is telling you when it's only reflecting how you feel. And that's the most important thing that I want to tell you today about this. I hope you found some value in it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day. Like the video and subscribe. All right, catch you later. Bye-bye.